Good morning again. Good morning. Where are we going? The journey to oneness sometimes requires building new roads. Sometimes you use words and you don't really, you know the meaning, but you don't really know the meaning. Well, I went to the CDC website and it says landslides occur when masses of rock or earth or debris move down a slope. Debris flows, also known as mudslides, are a common type of fast-moving landslide that tends to flow in channels. It went on to say what causes landslides and debris flows, otherwise known as mudslides. Landslides are caused by disturbances in the natural stability of a slope. They can accompany heavy rains or follow droughts, earthquakes, or volcanic eruptions. Mudslides develop when water rapidly accumulates in the ground and results in a surge of water-saturated rock, earth, and debris. Mudslides usually start on steep slopes and can be activated by natural disasters. Areas where wildfires or human modification of the land have destroyed vegetation on slopes are particularly vulnerable to landslides during and after heavy rains. I research stuff often before I speak. Sometimes the very research gives me some additional depth to a thought or a message that I want to share. Well, this week is no exception. I knew the title of today's message about 2 weeks ago. I was on an adventure. Well, an adventure home to Cuenca. I'm sure you guys find that hard to believe that I'm on an adventure. This was the last-ish leg home of a journey. It sounds even strange to me to say I was on a journey home. For the past 6 months, I've had 2 homes. Since finalizing my retirement and beginning this transition to Ecuador, I've had a cute little studio home in Aiken and a home here in Cuenca that I've been getting ready to eventually, at a point in the future, be a full-time home. Well, it had been raining here, and there had been an earthquake. But upon checking the roads, they were in decent condition, or at least passable condition. That's what I was told. So I got in late at night. I got up before dawn to take the shuttle for a 3.5-hour ride from the airport area to home. This was actually the next to the last leg of the journey because I'd get off the van, hail a taxi who would finish out the route and take me all the way home. Well, as we got up in the mountains, there was evidence that the rain and the earth shaking had happened. Landslides. As we got higher into the mountain, I began to regularly see the evidence, and in most cases, the debris flow had already been cleared from the roadway. On a few occasions, it had not been, but one lane was at least passable. In another instance, the debris flow was a mud flow that covered the road like slush ice would in areas that get icy precipitation, but most of the roadways were passable. But then we got to one area, and there were barricades. The barricades prohibited anyone from passing any further on the road. There were detour signs as you approached what once was a pretty level area winding around the mountain. The detour signs, however, pointed us to the left and down a steep and windy incline. It routed us down to the bottom onto a plateau and then around. And as I looked out the window on the right side of my van while others slept, I saw a huge landslide and debris flow. But it wasn't mud this time, it was boulders, both big and small. They had created a channel in the mountainside and flowed down the mountain to rest in this newly created valley. And then today's message entered my mind. Mudslides, landslides, of all things to enter my mind. For some of the landslides, the obstacles in the roadway could simply be removed. But sometimes they had to build a whole new road in order for me to get to my destination. You see, that's nature. And as I'm becoming more familiar with Ecuador, That is their culture, to work with nature. You see, these roads take you on what is less than a 100-mile journey if you were to go in a straight line. But they didn't plow through the mountains to connect the cities. Instead, they routed the road around and up, and then around and down the mountain into the valley where Cuenca sits. But sometimes the mountain gives in to change. Parts of the mountain, sometimes because of rain, or sometimes literal ground shaking, it breaks loose. And when that happens, oftentimes that change creates an obstruction on the road. That obstruction creates some difficulty, a resistance, if you will, on the motorist moving between the regions. Well, if nature is a good Bible, and I think it is, what does that mean for us? What does it mean for me? How can I apply this in my life? That's what I asked myself as I marveled at the visible representation of the earth's movement and change. And then life came into view. How many times have I been on a path somewhere and an obstacle comes into my life? Have you had a time in your life where you thought you were going in the right direction only to find an obstacle? Have some obstacles that you've had in life slowed you down, but you were able to clear them from your path? But sometimes the obstacles require you to build a new road to get to your destination. We're gathered here today in this virtual space. What is our collective destination? I thought the destination for each of us is the same. Well, no, not like it's the same place for everyone, but well, maybe it is. Isn't your destination in life to become your most authentic self? The core part of you that is truth, that is a reflection of what is divine, that is divinity itself, pure love, or often the purest love we are capable of at any given moment. Is that your destination? Is it mine? If so, then our destinations are the same place. But what is that place and what does it look like? We are in the UU framework and it's our guiding principles. It's a place where we are certified members of the beloved community, where we are living expressions of our core values. It's a place where we can and do recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every person. It's a place where we demonstrate justice, equity, and compassion. This place is a place where we not only accept one another, but we also encourage each other to spiritual growth. This place is a place where we are free to search responsibly for truth and meaning. It's a place where we support the democratic process. We improve the global community. It's a place where we respect our interdependent web of existence and we together build a diverse community and dismantle racism. What are the obstacles in your path to being these things? In my life, there are obstacles. Sometimes I forget to remember and recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And instead, I see them through the eyes of my judgment and ego, and I focus on the things that don't seem worthy and dignified. Sometimes I don't support the democratic process when I want, and I don't consider the wants of others that may be conflicted by me receiving my wants. Sometimes I disrespect our interdependent web of existence when I use those plastic bags that may take eons to disintegrate while at the same time toxifying the earth. And sometimes, in my ignorance or neglect, I am an incompetent builder of a diverse and unbiased community. What are some examples? What might this look like? Sometimes it's catching myself when I'm being judgmental and instead focusing on the worthiness of people, not my vision of their shortcomings. But some of us are learning about some issues that impact transgendered individuals. And it's helping me to build some new roads in my thinking and in my actions. Maybe your landslide area is in using pronouns. Maybe there's a place in your life where you need to build a new road. I know there are some of those places for me. I was at the market on the Saturday before yesterday, and I was leaving a vendor that I'd been joking with, and I said the equivalent of, "Goodbye, ma'am." And I took one step away and I realized I had brought gender into the conversation. And the term I used was based on my interpretations, not on what might have been the truth. In looking at my friend, I wasn't sure if it was a man or a woman. But as I'm learning, it caught my attention. I immediately turned around and I stumbled over my words as I turned to offer an apology for my assumptions. "Ma'am or sir, oh man, I'm sorry. It doesn't matter which one, either way. Oh man, but I'm sorry I assumed without asking, and I hope I didn't offend. My bad." Now, full disclosure, all of those weren't my words, but it was more like amigo, amiga, say, and a hand gesture and a hug and a bow of apology with my hands folded and a remorseful face. And in return, my friend gave me a wave and chuckled, "No problemo." And we both waved. But I had to learn a new road in my life of not making assumptions and questioning myself on why gender even needed to be included in any conversation. Well, the truth is the Spanish language has masculine and feminine variations of many words. So you're required to pick one side or the other. But even that, our languages are created in that space of duality rather than neutral. And that, for some, is not just little debris flow that the tractors can come and scrape away. But in your life, what are the new roads that must be paved for you to get to your destination? On that trip, I was grateful for the new road and the equipment and the labor to give me a clear passage home at the end of what was a very long trip, 26 hours to be exact. But life. Are you going with me to this place? The place where we are the beloved community, where I am love and I live love, where we are one and I act like it. Sometimes the journey requires us to build new roads, and just like in real life, building roads is not often a one-person job. Oh yeah, we're here to help you. We are your team too. We have all volunteered to be a part of your work crew anytime you need help clearing the existing road or building a new road. Isn't that what church is? Or at least, isn't that what it's supposed to be? Clearing the existing or building new roads. But as Olita Adams sings, I don't care how you get here. Just get here if you can. Friends, where are we going? On our journey to oneness, sometimes we must build new roads. Okay, wait. Before I go, what does the road represent in our lives, you may ask? Well, I'm glad you asked, because another song comes to mind that says, "Free your mind, and the rest will follow." In Vogue said it well. The road is oftentimes our mind. And what frees your mind? Healing. So again, I say, on our journey to oneness, sometimes we must build new roads.